Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Feminine Roadmap Health and Wellness, where we are doing a 4-part skincare series. In the first video in our series, we talked about skincare and aging. And for the second video in our series today, we're going to be talking about the challenges of skin, like acne, rosacea, and melasma. And our expert is Christy Hall. She's a board-certified physician's assistant. She's the owner of Skin Appeal, a cutting-edge medical aesthetics practice in Tucson, Arizona. She is the co-creator of Mikel Kristi Skincare, and she is the best-selling author of Your Beauty Advocate, a no-nonsense guide to age-defying skincare. So we have a great expert in-house here to help us talk about and figure out solutions for these things that a lot of us feel overwhelmed by. Thank you so much, Christy, for being here.
Thank you, Gina. I'm excited to be here as well.
So as we talked about in our first video, I have over 30 years of experience in makeup and skincare. So I find that one of the biggest questions women have is about the challenges of skincare, right?
Absolutely.
Acne.
Yes.
Melasma.
Rosacea.
And being a makeup artist, those were common things that came in. And these women sat in my chair. Over the years, I've learned a lot of things about it. And I thought, why don't we serve the audience with an expert who can talk about, you know, you've got the acne when you're young, but when you're my age, some women are having acne for the very first time. So why don't we kick it off with acne? Let's talk a little bit about what acne is, what causes it, because you and I both know there's like normal acne, then there's cystic acne, it could, you know, there's all of these kinds. So let's break that down a little bit.
Yeah, so that's a great question. Acne is one of those stubborn things, and I had adult acne myself. It hit me in my mid-30s, and I was like, whoa, what happened here? Because I never had it when I was younger. Thankfully, I've kind of outgrown that. But you're right, like so many women get it as adults. And it's usually, acne is just an inflammatory skin condition that comes from the overproduction of oil from the oil glands, and that oil gets trapped underneath the skin. And then we have an imbalance in the microbiome or the bacteria or the healthy bacteria that live on the skin surface. And so that acne bacteria is kind of overgrown, and then it gets into those oil glands and produces these acneic lesions. Now that can be a comedone, which is a white head or a black head, or it can be pustular, where you're getting like little kind of pustules on the skin, or it can be the deep ones, which are cystic acne as well. And so all of that is driven by inflammation from the body. And so we get inflammation a lot of the times from our diet, sometimes from lack of skincare, an imbalance of the pH of the skin, and a lot of times our hormones are what's driving the changes as we get older as well.
When we're talking about cystic acne, for example, I know that that's a really systemic thing for a lot of people. It could be coming from hormones. Could be coming from an excess of something in their body, you know, to foods and things like that. So let's talk a little bit about what you do and don't do when you have that kind of acne. That's the painful, red, deep. They tend to be along the jawline and along the cheeks, right? That's cystic acne kind of hangs out in the bottom of the face. At least that's what I've seen.
Well, cystic acne can actually be anywhere on the body. If it's along your jawline or around your mouth, that's classic hormonally driven acne, because this is where our androgens really are quite active, and that's why we get facial hair as we get older, or why men have beards. And so we know that that's kind of a hormonally driven area. So if your hormones are significantly imbalanced, you know, you can talk to your doctor about balancing them out. As we get older, even though all of our hormone levels kind of drop down to a minimum, your testosterone may just be a touch higher than your female hormones, and that might create the imbalance. So there's things that you can do, whether you want to do hormone replacement or even just dietary changes, that can help kind of balance those out with it. And all acne, it doesn't matter if it's cystic or any of them, are inflammatory things and can be hormone driven with that. So, you know, dietary things that we see with acne, I find that animal products like dairy products. We know that dairy tends to produce a lot of mucus in humans. Goat products are better than cow products. There's different kind of cows around the world. You know, the cows in Europe are very different than the American cows. So you can eat maybe cheese and drink milk in Europe and not have the same issues as you do here. So there's a lot of factors that go into that. So I tell people, just to kind of be as dairy free as you can. And for me, like when I was in my 30s, the only dairy that I ever had was like half and half in my coffee. And it really took me cutting that last little bit out to really get it under control. And, and it's not that I never have dairy anymore. I just don't have it on a regular basis, like a daily basis with that. Other things that I find with, diet is animal products that are, fed hormones. Those hormones are growth hormones that are androgens that are making them grow very rapidly. So if you're eating animal products that aren't organic or, hormone free, then you're consuming those same hormones that are again going to drive your acne as well. So, eating a diet that's mostly plant-based can kind of help you avoid dairy and animal products, but also gives you tons of antioxidants that can calm inflammation in the skin and really kind of calm things down.
Now, can people find sensitivities even to plant products? Like, do they need to be paying attention to how their joints feel and what's happening in their skin? Because I know for some people, like if they have gout, they can't have broccoli or spinach or whatever. So would you ever suggest possibly having someone talk to a nutritionist in their skincare journey if they're having difficulty identifying what's causing their challenges?
Absolutely. I mean, I think with anyone, there can be variations on the norm. And, at a minimum, we can try kind of the basics of an anti-inflammatory diet, which is mostly mostly vegetables, low glycemic index vegetables, and then a little bit of fruit, a little bit of your proteins and your healthy fats and all of those kind of things. I would cut down on gluten. I would cut down on soy. I would cut down on animal products as much as you can and processed foods. And then if you're still having issues that we can't get under control beyond that, then maybe a good idea to see a nutritionist, or even doing food allergy tests. Sometimes if you've been eating the same sort of diet and eating the same foods every day, you develop allergies to those sometimes, and you have to kind of knock them out of your diet for 6 months, and then you can reintroduce them to kind of rebalance everything.
Yeah, I know with soy for a lot of women, too much soy because it has xenoestrogens in it. Not that soy is bad, but it mimics estrogen in the body. And so I know that for some women, just removing soy, like if they've been using that as a dairy substitute, has really done a great job of clearing up a lot of those hormonal challenges with the skin.
Yes, exactly. So in a normal acne consult, I'll tell anyone to, cut out the dairy, let's minimize the non-organic animal products, and let's minimize soy as much as we can. And for most patients, that makes a huge difference without them having to go to the next level. But, every once in a while we run into those that are just super stubborn acne patients or even rosacea or melasma, and then we may need to do a little bit more in depth.
Yeah. I think with anything, our body being cellular, these things get built up in the body, right? And so sometimes there's a process of detoxifying the body because the skin is telling you something's off.
Yes.
And it's an inside job to get that outside beauty, right?
Yeah, your skin's your largest organ. And in my book, Your Beauty Advocate, that you mentioned, I have the whole last section is about detox. So because I think beauty does start on the inside out. And, sometimes we just need to reset and, let's get all the toxins out mentally, physically, emotionally, let's get it all out and let's kind of start fresh. During this quarantine time, this may be a great time to do this, kind of do a 4 or 7 day reset. So I think, kind of looking into those kind of things with the guidance of your physician, if you have any comorbid conditions or anything, but you can really kind of reset things. And even just doing that, you'll see an amazing glow in your skin. But of course, we've got to do the skincare in addition to that as well.
Yes, we do. Let's talk a little bit about the part that stress plays in these skincare conditions.
Mm-hmm. So, we know that stress increases our cortisol levels, which then kind of increases all the inflammatory hormones in the body. And when we have inflammation, things just don't function well. And, it'll show up on your skin as kind of a dullness. You may have physical ailments like headaches and fatigue and things like that as well. But yeah, I mean, decreasing stress, and it can be as simple as doing some deep breathing exercises, on a daily basis, or adding in like a 5-minute meditation. I know we all get busy, and like me, I feel like I have ADD most of the time. My brain's going a million miles in every direction, that it's hard to do that. But I find that it really helps my, kind of calming my parasympathetic nervous system down so that I am like nice and zen. And I feel like my health responds to that nicely.
It's so important. I think that point is that you getting your inside game in order is going to reflect on the skin. So the skincare is the support of the external, but the journey begins with how we treat the inside of our body, right? But when we talk about rosacea, it's interesting because some people have it for years and some people it can be onset through pregnancy or some kind of huge hormonal shift. So let's talk a little bit about what rosacea is and what are the common causes, and then what do we do about it? Because that one can be so challenging.
Yeah, so as you're going to learn and we start to talk about skincare, it doesn't matter what kind of skin condition, whether it's acne, rosacea, melasma, we're going to treat them all in the same way. And we'll get to that, shortly. But rosacea, no one really knows what causes rosacea. I find that rosacea is misdiagnosed a lot of times. If people think they have redness on their cheeks, that's rosacea, it could just be sun damage. Years and years of chronic sun exposure. You're in California, we're in Arizona, we get lots of that. But that chronic sun exposure creates broken blood vessels in the skin, which flush and do the same thing as rosacea. So you don't necessarily have to diagnose rosacea, we just need to treat it. And so once we have that redness in the skin, we need to minimize that by doing a laser treatment to kind of reduce that redness and get rid of those vessels that are sitting underneath the skin so that we're not getting that flushing sensation. If we have the dryness on the skin, that's just about your skincare. We need to, up the same thing for the acne. We need to up the exfoliation process so that we're not getting that dead skin cells sitting on the surface and the clogged pores from the acne.
Are there any food challenges with rosacea specifically? I noticed for some people, gluten can really flare up people who have been diagnosed. Gluten seems to be a culprit with rosacea.
Yeah, it can be different for everyone. We tend to, if you truly have rosacea, which can be skin or eye, ocular rosacea as well, if you consume something and it makes you turn red and flush and get really hot, then that's a trigger. And it may be something that you're allergic to or sensitive to. For some people, it's hot food. Some people, it's sulfites in wine. Some people, it's just wine in general. Sometimes for me, it's like less expensive alcohols like vodkas and champagnes and things like that have more preservatives in it create flare my rosacea up quite significantly. For some people it's gluten, some people it's soy, so everyone's different. Some people it's heat, or stress, and you really kind of have to figure out what your trigger points are and then try and avoid those as much as possible. But the healthier that we get your skin, the less issues you have with any of that.
Let's talk a little bit about melasma. I feel like I'm seeing more awareness around melasma. We're seeing people posting things on social media and really bringing awareness to this interesting challenge. Explain to us what melasma is.
So melasma is a hormonal skin condition where your skin overproduces melanin from the melanocytes. It can be genetic. People who have darker hair, darker eyes naturally have more melanin in their skin. And so for them, it may show up with pregnancy or hormone changes, birth control pills, stress, whatever. It shows up probably in your 30s typically. Some people get it a little bit younger. But I always say that once you have melasma, it's your friend for life. It's really annoying. There's no cure for it. We just have to learn how to manage it. So I myself have rosacea and melasma. So I have both lovely conditions and so I can speak from experience.
And so because you said there's really no cure for it, and when we see someone whose skin looks patchy like that, is it autoimmune? Do we know if it's an autoimmune thing, or is it just, because I always feel like when the body goes off the rails in any way, shape, or form, it kind of falls in the autoimmune kind of bucket. And have they put melasma in an autoimmune bucket? Do you know?
They have not classified it as an autoimmune condition or disease. We know it's an inflammatory, just like acne and rosacea. You know, and melasma can be exacerbated by heat, stress, trauma to the skin, those kind of things. And so, like I said, people with darker skin types, you know, Hispanic skin, Asian skin, darker skin types are going to be more prone to it because they have dark hair and dark eyes. And so they have naturally more melanocytes in the skin. And it usually shows up after pregnancy or birth control pill use or something like that at whatever point in your life with it. So the way that we treat melasma is very similar to every other skin condition, and exfoliating it and stimulating collagen. But with them, we want to add in a melanocyte product that's going to kind of even out those melanocytes so they're not as reactive. If you do get sun exposure, they're not going to turn dark, or if we get some kind of trauma to the skin, it's not going to turn dark. So our goal is to minimize and stabilize the melanocytes as much as possible.
Fascinating. That's really cool. So let's talk about, because we're putting all of these things that seem separate in one category, which is they're all kind of coming from an unhealthiness somewhere in the body, inflammatory, stress, hormone imbalance, something like that. So let's talk about what it looks like to begin to have control, if you will, or feel like you've got something you can do to feel better about your skin if you have any of these conditions.
Yeah, so like I talk about for everyone, everyone's skin needs the same functioning. And when our skin functions well, like it did when you're a child, we have kind of perfect skin. You know, it's bright and it's radiant, it's supple, it produces its own moisture, it's nice and firm, we don't have excess pigmentation on the skin. And so all of them kind of need the same basics. And then we may add on some extra things like an extra anti-inflammatory for rosacea sensitive skin types. We may add in like melanocyte stabilizers for melasma. We may need heavier duty products for acne to kind of turn over those skin cells. So there's four basic needs. Number one, we need to cleanse our skin twice a day. And number two, we need to increase the natural exfoliation process. So in children, the epidermis or the outer layer of skin is very thin. And as we get older, it gets really thick, okay? And so when we have that thick, dead layer of skin, the melanocytes sit on the bottom layer of the epidermis. And when we have that thick, dead layer of skin, it's hard to make that look healthy because it's just dead skin cells and it's hard to bring moisture into that. So if we increase our body's natural exfoliation, which is what happens when you're a child, your epidermis will thin down, these cells will line up again and they'll start to produce their own moisture. And then thinning that down allows us to access to those melanocytes a little bit more readily as well, so that we can stabilize those more effectively, if that makes sense. And then the dermis, the deeper layer of skin, is where we want to build the collagen. So collagen, you know, we'll talk about wrinkles later, but that's another thing that people, you know, get concerned about is wrinkles and sagginess. And when we thin that collagen down naturally, it stops growing naturally in your 30s. And so we have to stimulate it to grow. And if we're not stimulating it, then the skin is getting wrinkled, it's getting saggier, we're getting large pores, and those kind of things on the skin. And then, you know, we want to balance the pH on the skin as well. You know, so for acne and rosacea in particular, those come into play because when the pH of your skin is out of balance, you really see a lot of dysfunction as far as like the inflammation, the rashiness that happens with rosacea. Acne can also come with rosacea or acne, and those imbalances in the pH or the skin's healthy microbiome are important as well, and we want to manage that with skincare products.
Thinking about the whole pH balance, you know, our bodies, there's that, was it 7.0, 7.5 is like kind of a good pH for your body to be in. And I know for a lot of people, their diet puts them in an acidic state.
Yes. So that's a good thing with doing a detox is we want to become more alkalinic. So you want your body to be alkalinic, which is anything above 7, but your skin is actually acidic. We want it around a 5 or 5.5. So, you know, there's different pH levels that we look at with that. So that's
fascinating.
Yeah, doing that detox is, when I talk about the detox in my book, it's an alkalizing detox. So it's going to take a lot of that acidity, calm it down. Acidity comes from your diet. A lot of foods are acidic. It also comes from stress, all of those kind of things. So, kind of resetting everything. Like I said, you'll see a natural glow happen on your skin, but we'll also feel a lot better as well.
Yeah, that cortisol is quite the culprit in so many things in our bodies in general, but it really does show up in our skin. When you're not sleeping well and you're not eating well, and then maybe situations in our life are maybe feeling more out of control, I think our skin is busy saying, ma'am, you need to get your act together, because it does show up, like you said, in the dullness, whether or not you have acne or rosacea. So let's talk about some products that would be helpful, and what ingredients in those products, or what maybe there's something that is important for them to know about why that product.
Yes, great question. Okay, so Mikel Kristi is my skincare line, so I'm going to refer to that a lot. With Mikel Kristi, we use cosmeceutical grade products. So the difference in over-the-counter versus cosmeceutical is, with cosmeceuticals, the ingredients are actually going to enter into the skin and improve the function of the skin, whereas over-the-counter products most of the time just sit on the surface. So I think it's good to understand that. What we need to is, number one, cleanse the skin in the morning and evening. And when we use a cleanser, we want it to be gentle enough that it's not sucking all of the moisture out of your skin. So you don't want to feel squeaky clean after, you just want to be clean. You don't need to do any double cleansing with, all these kind of oil cleansers and all that. As long as you get a good cleanser, we have 2 in our line that I love, and it should be able to remove your makeup. You shouldn't really need makeup removers either. So a good cleanser should be able to get in there. If you wash for a good 30 to 60 seconds, your skin should be clean. And that creates a nice base that now we're going to put all of our quote medicines or things that are going to do amazing things on the skin. So like I talk about, we want to pick ingredients that are going to stimulate collagen production. Those powerhouse ingredients are like vitamin C, peptides, vitamin A in the form of retinaldehyde or retinoic acid, and I think that's it. And with that, we also want to exfoliate the skin as well. So increasing natural exfoliation is never a scrubbing process. I never want anyone scrubbing their skin with any scrubby beads or, sandpapery things on the skin, because that creates a condition of like damaging the surface of the skin. So our skin starts to look sandpapery after a while from the damage. So we want your skin to turn over its cells naturally, and that's what it did when you were younger. So we just need to restore that. So certain ingredients, like again, vitamin A in the form of retinaldehyde or retinoic acid will do that for you. Alpha hydroxy acids like glycolic acid, lactic acid, salicylic acid, those will do that as well. So when we're, and then moisturizers are not an important step in anti-aging. If your skin is very healthy, you don't need a moisturizer. And moisturizers do not help prevent aging either. Moisturizers will kind of like put a Band-Aid on the problem by doing some instant plumping, but it's not an ongoing anti-aging process. Building collagen is an ongoing anti-aging process. So in the morning, for any kind of routine, we need to wash our face. Toners come into play to help rebalance the pH. Not everyone needs a toner. Anyone with any of the conditions that we're talking about, I do like toners, because balancing the pH helps us get all of the other products to penetrate more effectively. And that's what we need on the skin. So in the morning, you may wash your face, you may tone your skin. If you have melasma, we'll need to add in a skin lightener. There are prescription strength skin lighteners like hydroquinone. Sometimes if you have a really dark melasma, we may need to add in a prescription strength for a short period of time. I'm not a fan of keeping you on prescription strength ongoing, because over time that'll actually make your melasma more resistant and more difficult to treat. So there are plant-based skin lighteners that we use in our Vital C serum, like arbutin, vitamin C, soji mushroom extract. There's a lot of those, kojic acid, that are natural kind of plant-based skin lighteners that work very nicely on the skin. And then we need to wear sun protection. The sun makes melasma worse. If you get a lot of sun exposure, that darkness is going to get a lot darker. And that's a risk with using prescription strength hydroquinone. hydroquinone is we kind of sometimes get a rebound effect where we get even darker. And that's why hydroquinone is illegal in a lot of countries, especially along the equators, because your melasma will turn kind of black if you're not treating it appropriately. So that's a prescription product for a reason. The plant-based ones are a lot less at risk for doing that. So we definitely want to use those to help stabilize the melanocytes as much as possible. But sun protection needs to be an SPF with the active ingredient of zinc oxide. If your sunblock does not have zinc or titanium in it, which acts like a mirror to bounce the rays off, then you're really not getting great protection on the skin. And in the evening, and that's when we do our exfoliation process. So we want to wash the face again, and then we have these really great swipes that have exfoliants in it. Our rejuvenating swipes are really nice. They're like little pads that you kind of run over the skin, and this can act as your toner, but it has alpha hydroxy acids like lactic acid and glycolic that you just kind of run over to exfoliate the skin. And then that preps you for then your anti-aging serums like our Vital A serum, which has the skin lighteners in it as well, in addition to the vitamin A that's going to turn over those skin cells and stimulate collagen production.
How important is it to have that night routine? Because I've always felt like because our bodies refresh and reset at night, that it's a good thing to give your skin something to work with. So you're talking about like those pads and putting a serum. That's a way of helping your skin do what it needs to do while you sleep. Is that correct?
Yeah, so your body that's its time of healing and regeneration. And so we want to get those active ingredients on the skin that are going to just do amazing things while you sleep. So, making sure you have a clean palate, so cleansing the skin, adding in the alpha hydroxy acids, and especially the vitamin A. Vitamin A works more effectively at nighttime because you're not getting the sun exposure and your body's at rest, so it can penetrate deeply into the skin to give us that nice anti-aging happening on the skin.
So I have to jump in here from a makeup perspective. And for a skincare person, what do you have to say for women who sleep with their makeup on?
Well, you're not helping yourself in any way. So if your goal is to look great and have healthy skin, then doing that nighttime regimen is really important. So washing the face and getting the serums on that are going to do the healing and the anti-aging at nighttime is very important. So you can't do that through makeup. And especially if you have acne prone skin or rosacea prone skin, you are just kind of exacerbating that inflammation by leaving that makeup and that dirt and that grime on the skin as well. So it's not really helping you.
Yeah, those extra 3 to 5 minutes that it takes to get your skin in order is so worth it. And really, from a makeup perspective, one of the things that I have taught my clients for over 30 years is, when it comes to cosmetics, if your foundation, your palette, your skin, your canvas, choose the word that makes sense to you, is well taken care of, then the money that you invest in cosmetics is going to be well spent because you'll use less, it'll look better. You don't have to have 3 products to cover your skin. You can actually build a beautiful canvas and then just put a little bit on to get the effect that you want. So I really think for those of you that are watching that think about, I wear so much makeup because my skin is out of shape. There's a period of time where you just need to commit to get to that healthier place with your skin, because that's when the makeup actually looks good, is when your skin is in great shape. You have a different relationship with the makeup. So I know you're talking about skincare, but skincare is really the very first step in a beautiful makeup.
I agree completely. I don't wear a lot of makeup, hardly ever. And even on TV, I mean, I just don't need it because my skin, like you said, I'll put a light tint on, and that's in my eyes, and that's about it. But I find that makeup on older skin, it just kind of sinks into fine lines and it highlights every line on your face. I hate that. I don't like the look of people with super dry skin trying to put makeup over that. It just looks like crusty and dry. I mean, it's not a very pretty look. So I agree. Like if you have healthy skin, it's like, it's nice and smooth. Your makeup's just going to go on beautifully and it's going to enhance your natural beauty and not really try and hide things. So I don't like the use of makeup to hide things. I like it for enhancement.
Yeah. Yeah. And so when we're thinking about skincare and makeup, they are actually partners.
Yes, agreed. So the important thing for acne prone people is to understand that the type of makeup that you use can exacerbate your acne. So there's ingredients, there's a lot of chemicals in a lot of makeups, and one ingredient in particular called talc, which is TALC, really enhances acne and exacerbates it. So I'm not really super particular for most people about what kind of makeup they use, although I like more natural type things that are more mineral based. But for acne, it's definitely a must that you have to stay away from talc. So that's something to really be aware of if you are fighting acne, because that might be one of the main culprits of it coming back over and over again. So I tend to recommend more pure mineral based makeups. I love Color Science. There's a lot of medical grade lines out there and I'm sure there's a lot of non-medical grade ones. I just don't know them because I'm not really into makeup like you are, but so I recommend kind of a more of a pure mineral based makeup.
The nice thing about mineral makeup, just as an aside, is because it has naturally occurring minerals in it or some kind of mineral complex, minerals have a tendency to have a natural blur. They actually distribute the light differently. So
Yes.
instead of getting that kind of cakey, creasy, crepey, you get a more smooth blurring effect just naturally because the way the light and the minerals, the minerals, the way they reflect light, they're like little mirrors that kind of create that illusion. So there's another good reason for people to wear minerals. And if your skin is in great shape, you can actually just use a mineral powder.
Mm-hmm.
You don't even have to go the foundation route. So for women out there who are like, I can't wear makeup, mineral is a very great solution for it.
Absolutely.
So as we wrap up this second video in our series, is there anything really important that you want people to grab onto, a place where they can start? How do they get a hold of you so that they can begin this journey?
So that's a good question. I think, like we talked about, definitely starting on the inside and paying attention to diet, exercise, meditation, kind of calming and detoxing from the inside. Decreasing the inflammatory foods that we're eating is always a good place to start. But also to do the skincare regimen that I was talking about. We need to cleanse the skin. We need to increase the natural exfoliation. We need to increase collagen stimulation. And then for melasma or people with photo damage, we need to stabilize those melanocytes. So you can find all of our products at skincaremk.com. If you subscribe to our newsletter and use the code MKRTribe1, you can get a 10% discount on your entire purchase at skincaremk.com.
All right. Well, awesome. Thank you so much, Kristi, for sharing such helpful and important information. I know a lot of women in my career have struggled with this. And the last thought that I would have to support all that you share is you have to trust the process. If your skin is out of balance, if your body's out of balance, there's no quick fix for it. But I think starting with a detox and doing the sort of things, just trusting that your skin can get to that place again. Would you agree?
Yes, I totally agree with that. And I think that's a very valid point. People want to see change within a week or two. And especially with these kind of conditions, it's a process. And it usually is a minimum of 90 days to see the healthy skin show up. And for some, we go through like a skin detox as well. So we talk about that when you purchase our products. I'm here for you. We have a video concierge on our website that you can communicate with me, one-on-one. But sometimes, especially if you have very sensitive skin, you may go through a rashy, peely stage, or we may go through an increased breakout stage with our acne. And so it's good to understand that sometimes we just have to get over that hump to get to the other side of the great skin. It always happens, and I'm here to walk you through it. But that's why it's good to kind of work with someone that can help you with that.
Yes, because it can be scary when you're trying to fix something to feel like it's going backwards, right?
Yes, absolutely.
But trust the process, my friends. Skincare, for those of you who might feel like it's too much work, there are minimal steps you can take with a really maximum output. And Mikel Kristi's skincare line, because I use it as well, has that benefit. And it doesn't take a lot. Like, you shouldn't be bucketing your face with products. It's really about the right products at the right time and the right amounts, and let your body do the rest, right?
Absolutely. I always say I'm lazy because I am. And I'm not the type to do like a 20-minute routine. So, I mean, my skincare literally takes me 2 minutes in the morning and the evening. I mean, it's not an intensive process. You know, in the beginning, it might be a little bit overwhelming, but after a couple of days, you're like, okay, I got this. And yeah, it can be very simplistic, but it's all about choosing the right ingredients and choosing the right products to give you the outcome that you're looking for. It's not about piling on tons of moisturizer.
Awesome. Well, thank you again, Kristi. So this brings us to the conclusion of our second video, and I'm so excited. We have 2 more on the way. So if you found that this video was really helpful to you, I want to encourage you to share it with people. If you subscribe down below, we'll have that link down below. So if you don't have to go back through the video to find that link, thank you so much for that generous offer for the viewers today. Everything you need will be down below in the description. So please, friends, share this video with your girlfriends, because this is one of those things that's actually not as scary as it seems. And if you're already practicing good skincare, maybe there's just that one thing you can add in that's going to give you that pop you've been looking for. So thank you so much for joining us today. We look forward to sharing 2 more amazing informational videos with you. If you missed video 1, that link is down below. Please go check it out and share it with your friends. Thank you so much and have a great day.